Hello everyone and welcome to Old Coins TV channel. If you love exploring the world of coins, their history, value, and rare discoveries, you've come to the right place. Here, we'll share exciting information about coins from around the world, from ancient treasures to modern currency. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to never miss our latest videos. The Lincoln wheat cent from 1942, often called the Washington 1 cent by collectors because of its strong association with early American patriotic coinage history, is one of the most fascinating and historically rich pennies ever produced in the United States, especially when found in very fine VF condition, where the coin still shows clear wheat stalk details on the reverse and visible hair strands and cheek contours on the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, whose image was designed by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner. Minted during the intense years of World War II, the 1942 penny represents a dramatic period in American history when copper was becoming increasingly important for wartime ammunition and electrical wiring, which makes this particular year extremely significant in numismatic circles because it stands at the transition between traditional bronze composition and the experimental steel cents of 1943. And while most 1942 pennies were struck in bronze with a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, collectors aggressively search for rare mint varieties including double dyes and off-metal errors that can push the value of this coin from a simple circulated piece worth only a few dollars into the range of hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially when authenticated and graded by professional services such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, because grading plays a massive role in determining value. And in very fine condition, the 1942 cent typically shows moderate wear but retains bold lettering in Liberty and a strong date, with partial separation in Lincoln's hair above the ear and visible lines in the wheat ears on the reverse. And when we talk about unique features, we must highlight that 1942 pennies were minted in three major facilities: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, Denver, D Mint Mark, and San Francisco, S Mint Mark, each with different mintage totals that directly impact scarcity and desirability, with the 1942D and 1942S varieties sometimes commanding higher premiums in stronger grades. And the most legendary version of all is the 1942 bronze transitional error struck on a 1943 steel planchette or experimental alloy variations, which have stunned the auction world by reaching astonishing prices, sometimes climbing into the multi-thousand-dollar category depending on rarity and condition. And this explosive potential for hidden treasure is exactly why collectors carefully inspect every 1942 penny they find in old jars, inherited collections, or estate sales, because small details such as die cracks, repunched mint marks, or doubled inscriptions can transform an ordinary coin into a headline-making rarity. And historically speaking, the Lincoln wheat cent series itself, introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday, revolutionized American coinage by featuring a real historical figure instead of a symbolic representation like Lady Liberty. And by 1942 the design had already become iconic in American pockets, circulating heavily during wartime America when every cent counted, which adds emotional and historical depth to the coin beyond just its metal content. And today, when collectors discuss market value, a standard 1942 cent in very fine condition may typically trade in the $5 to $20 range depending on mint mark. But high-end varieties, certified examples, or rare mint errors can skyrocket dramatically into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, particularly if the coin exhibits exceptional eye appeal, original red-brown coloration, or scarce die varieties recognized in specialized catalogs. And because the coin market fluctuates based on demand, precious metal prices, and collector interest, the 1942 wheat penny remains a powerful example of how a small 1-cent coin can hold massive historical significance and surprising investment potential, making it one of the most talked about mid-century Lincoln cents in coin history and a must-check date for anyone serious about building a valuable wheat penny collection. When we dive even deeper into the story of the Lincoln wheat cent dated 1942 in very fine condition, we begin to understand why this seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin can carry extraordinary importance in American numismatic history, especially when examined under magnification, where collectors carefully study the sharpness of the wheat lines, the strength of the rim, and the clarity of the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the 1942 date, all of which help determine whether the coin sits solidly within the VF20-VF35 grading range according to professional standards set by companies such as the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company. And in this grade level, the coin still maintains a pleasing balance between historical circulation wear and collectible detail, which many collectors actually prefer because it represents authentic wartime use during the height of World War II, when American industry was rapidly shifting resources toward military production, and copper was becoming increasingly strategic, making 1942 one of the final full bronze years before the famous 1943 steel cent experiment. And this historical timing dramatically increases collector curiosity, especially for rare die varieties like the 1942 double die obverse, where slight but visible doubling can sometimes be seen in the lettering or date, a feature that can push values into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on visibility and certification. And beyond varieties, the mint mark itself plays a powerful role in desirability because the Denver D and San Francisco S issues often had different strike qualities and survival rates compared to the Philadelphia issue, leading to subtle scarcity differences in higher grades. And when a 1942 penny is discovered with strong original red-brown luster, minimal spotting, and crisp wheat detail on the reverse, its market appeal increases dramatically at coin shows and major auctions, sometimes drawing aggressive bidding from collectors who specialize in completing high-quality wheat cent sets. And it is important to remember that the design created by Victor David Brenner, featuring Abraham Lincoln, was groundbreaking for American coinage because it honored a real president rather than a symbolic figure, making every 1942 cent not just a piece of currency but a miniature historical monument carried through the hands of millions of Americans during a defining global conflict. And today, as coin markets continue to evolve, serious collectors recognize that while common circulated examples may sell modestly, premium certified specimens, rare transitional errors, and dramatic die varieties can command remarkable prices, proving once again that within the world of coin collecting, even a single copper cent from 1942 can transform from pocket change into a historically powerful and financially valuable treasure. Another powerful reason the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent in very fine condition continues to capture attention is the combination of historical timing, production scale, and survival rates that shape today's collector demand, because although millions were struck across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, not all surviving examples display strong detail, smooth surfaces, and problem-free originality, which are critical factors that separate an average circulated coin from a premium collectible piece. And when you closely inspect a true very fine specimen, you should clearly see separation in at least half of Lincoln's hair detail, defined cheek and jaw contours, and wheat stalk lines that remain bold and partially separated rather than completely flat. And this visible structure is exactly what experienced numismatists look for when evaluating coins before submission to grading authorities such as the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, because third-party certification not only authenticates the coin but can significantly increase market confidence and final selling price, especially for scarce varieties like repunched mint marks or double dies that are sometimes subtle to the untrained eye. And the 1942 issue is particularly intriguing because it represents the final full year before the dramatic 1943 steel cent transition, making it part of the pre-steel copper era that many collectors prefer for its classic weight, color, and historical authenticity. And since the obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln was sculpted by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, are famous among cent enthusiasts, the design itself adds artistic value that enhances collector appeal. And when demand increases for mid-century wheat cents, prices for superior very fine examples can climb well beyond basic price guide listings. sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars for certified high-end VF coins with exceptional eye appeal, and even more if a rare error or dramatic die characteristic is present, and this is why seasoned collectors carefully examine color consistency, rim integrity, surface smoothness, and absence of corrosion, because a clean chocolate brown or red brown 1942 cent with strong strike quality can stand out dramatically in auctions compared to dull, heavily worn examples, and in today's competitive numismatic marketplace, where registry set collectors compete for the finest graded coins within each date and mint mark, even a seemingly common year like 1942 can surprise the market with impressive realized prices, proving once again that condition, rarity, and certification together can transform a simple wartime penny into a valuable and historically meaningful treasure that continues to grow in prestige within the coin collecting community.